It was frustrating to watch that match. Like, I thought the 15th game was fun. Both our boys played that up. I get it. Yeah, there was a lot of that. That's what they call the opposition. They kept on holding. Oh, really? Yeah, so we I didn't have to look at the other results. We could be back down to 6. If it goes the wrong way, we could be at 6th position, 3 and 6. Yeah. So we want to. Yeah, he says taking the slide now. That's what I said to my mother. He's taking the slide. They updated it yet?
Mate, it's, yeah. Oh, this will come through though. Let me turn this off.
See you later.
Good afternoon to everyone watching on the stream for NPL Men's New South Wales. Western Sydney Wanderers against Sydney United 58. Scheduled kickoff time is 3 p.m. We are live at Wanderers Football Park, and we will hopefully have the teams out onto the arena soon. Stay with us though, these are live pictures, and kickoff hopefully not too far away. So the teams are here for NPL Men's New South Wales. It's a round 19 clash between Western Sydney Wanderers and Sydney United 58. We're live from Wanderers Football Park this afternoon, scheduled 3 p.m. local kickoff for those of you watching interstate or around the world. Teo Pellizzeri with you for this one, and it is a very important game in this Saturday afternoon clash at different ends of the table. For Sydney United 58, they can really move clear inside the top six. They've got a cup final to look forward to in a couple of weeks' time, having made the Waratah Cup final midweek, and now they can put a big down payment on their finals place. They could move 8 points clear of 7th place with a win today. Whereas for the Western Sydney Wanderers, they have had an upturn in results, and they are hoping to move even further clear of the bottom two, the relegation playoff place and also the relegation spot for last. If they win today, they could be 7 points clear of second last. So big incentive for both teams to go for it today. Let's get into the teams. Changes are plenty for the Western Sydney Wanderers. You may have seen that they sold Akol Akon, lost him to Sydney FC during the week. He was in their starting 11 last week, but he is one of 5 outs for the game, including Tristan Vidakovic, Nathan Barry, Riley Hollingdale, and Thomas Chuduk. And into the starting 11 come Sinnott, Tilt, Badalato and Alizart. So let's go through the full starting 11. Western Sydney Wanderers goalkeeper is Lucas Sinnott, 4 Ricky Franson, 5 Lachlan Tilt, 7 Dallo Sandy, 8 Nicholas Badalato, 9 Alad Abdul Rahman. Number 10 is Edmund Haddad. He's had a change of number this week. He'll be playing in the number 10. 18 is Awan Lual, 22 Jesse Cameron, 27 Julian Kopp, and 33 Leon Alizart. Just the one change for Sydney United 58 from last week's team in the league, that is. Ante Juric bringing in Adrian Vlastelica and moving Liam McGing to the bench. So the Sydney United lineup: goalkeeper Josip Orlovic, 3 Bailey Rule, 4 Adrian Vlastelica, 5 Anthony Tomilic, 9 Patrick Antomi, 10 Carlos de Oliveira, 11 Matthew Hatch, 17 Michael Glassick, 19 Aidan Milicevic, 23 Mason Wells, and 32 Leroy Jennings, who was one of the goal scorers when these two teams met back on the 11th of... when they met considerably earlier in the season, I should say. It was all the way back in round 4, a 2-0 win to Sydney United, with the now departed Tariq Meyer and Leroy Jennings, the 2 goal scorers. So Sydney United 58 in their white away kit kick this one off, attacking to the left of your screens at Wanderers Football Park, the home side, in their home kits of red and black hoops. Pitch is in immaculate condition, and it's a mild 16 degrees at kickoff. And there was a little bit of rain about 90 minutes ago, but it's absolutely perfect conditions overhead now, and hopefully a good spectacle. It was a bit of a struggle when these two teams met back earlier in the season at King Tom. Wanderers with a lot of huff and puff that day, but no real answers to the centre-back pairing of Sydney United, who were able to win for the first time of the campaign, and how their form has improved since that shaky start to the season. Wanderers with an attacking foray to get this one started, and Jesse Cameron will come up to take the throw in here. Throw in that's going to bounce into the box. Vlastelica clears initially. And then a pass is teasing one Lual. He's in good goal-scoring form coming into today. Cameron. Haddad. Wanderers players trying to get a feel for the ball, but the industry of De Oliveira is able to win it away initially, and now the second ball follow-up comes through from Tomalich. And over to the right flank where Mason Wells is in ripping form. 7 goals this season. And he's denied a chance to run at the penalty area here by a slide challenge from one of the 4 inclusions to the Wanderers starting 11, Leon Alizart. A couple of new faces on the Wanderers bench as well today. We'll get to the benches when we've got a break in play. They could have 2 potential first appearances of the season and a season debut. Well, a complete club debut, in fact, if we have a change of goalkeeper, as unlikely as that is, but we'll get to that at a break in play because Vlastelitz is on the ball here for Sydney United. Hatch. Matthew Hatch from the left flank. An underlapping run from Jennings, and he can't quite link up. So that gives us a chance to look at the substitute benches for both teams. Western Sydney Wanderers, Lachlan Allen on the bench today with no Tristan Vidakovic in the squad. Number 11, Khan Nizam. 14, another potential debutant, Ewan Gazovsky. 26, Anthony Barbich. 32, Saxon Hillier could be back for the first time since round 14. And 34 is Noah Peacock. As we see Wanderers try to build here, Abdul Ruckman's going to be caught well behind Glassick on this occasion, though. Glassick uses his keeper, Orlovich. And Glassick dinks a ball up to halfway, and it's headed by Ricky Franson down to Abdul Ruckman, who's backtracking. And Wanderers will consolidate possession. Franson, who's not got his regular centre-back partner, Nathan Barry, next to him today. Instead, it's Lachlan Tilt who's taken up that position. Now Franson to the left flank. And a probing pass comes. But first offside of the game. Dallo Sandy trapped offside down on the left flank. After the pass from Alizart tried to find him. Matthew Hatch to the shouts of Hatchie from Carlos de Oliveira. His pass intercepted though. Battolato in midfield. Haddad. As I mentioned pre-kickoff, he's given up the number 29 for the number 10 today. Edmund Haddad. I'm sure that'll be seen as something of an upgrade. And as Wanderers consolidate possession, let's take a quick look at the Sydney United bench. Adrian Jamie Betsina, their backup goalkeeper, Mario Chabau, Alessandro Lacalandra, Liam McGing, Stefan de Robillard, who's back from international duty. Haven't seen him for a couple of weeks since round 16. And Josh Attard could be back in the seniors for the first time since round 4, at least in the league. So he fills the final seat on the substitutes bench today. Assistant referee getting pretty loud protest there from the Sydney United players, but is unmoved. And with the ball at the feet of Franson, today's officiating crew is the vastly experienced Michael Weiner, a central referee. AR1, who's over on the outer side, is Matthew Harris. AR2, we'll get to that in a moment. Here's Haddad, in at the near post. Oh, the goalkeeper Orlovich was watching and trusting in his defence. Abdul Ruckman slid in. And a good slide challenge from Bailey Rule did just enough to put off the striker, and he got the last touch, sending it behind for a goal kick. But yes, nearest to our camera is the AR2 Mitchell Renton, and the fourth official today is Rowan Fisher. So that's all the formalities. And we're almost 5 minutes in, and Wanderers have made a bright start. Here's Haddad again, this time caught in possession. Jennings, you heard the impact of the body check, and he is fouled. Jennings, who hasn't scored a league goal since round 11, so maybe a familiar opponent that he has a goal-scoring history with could be to his liking today. Jennings back involved again against Cameron. Battolato brought the ball to ground. Lual. Abdul Ruckman. Alizart. Things just slowing down a bit for the Wanderers, and Alizard maybe a little eager to make something happen out on that left flank. Michael Vlasic back to his keeper, Orlovich. Vlastelica. Intercepted. Haddad. And Tomilic gets in the nick of time, saves the day. And could turn defence into attack in one pass. Hatch advancing down the left side. Tried to drive across, took a big deflection, and then it's been sliced away. It won't quite have enough to get out for a corner, though, as Jesse Cameron retrieves the ball down next to the line. And the Wanderers will have possession. It nearly gave Sydney United a little gift there. Lual against Vlastelica. Sandy. Uncle Ruckman to the shouts that he had a man right on his hammer. And that man came away with the ball in Mason Wells. Patrick Antelmi, the centre forward, playing back to goal. Bailey Rule down the right flank. And the switch is on. Not quite. Cameron wins the header. Haddad. He's got a good read on where the ball is falling at the moment. Sandy in late. His first touch left the door open to get his pocket picked, and then he slid in on Jennings and committed the foul. Sydney United playing Matthew Hatch as a left back. He can maraud forward, but on an attacking set piece like this, he's actually holding his defensive position. Decision time now. Milicevic and Tomilic. Sydney United look to advance the ball. Jennings turns central. Great pass out to the right. Bailey Rule, underlapping run is promising, and the shot is across the face. Twisting from Mason Wells. More used to seeing him shoot on his left foot than his right. And the ball never quite went out. It's been retrieved right down in the corner. Lush surface, it was watered pre-game, and the ball held up. But Rule is going to get a second chance as it deflects kindly. Here is Bailey Rule in at the near post, and Franson's done well to slide in and block it away. Haddad trusted his first touch on that high ball. And now the clearance is going to be driven out right near halfway. So, best phase of the game so far for Sydney United 58. They've warmed into the match, and at the 9-minute mark they are on top. Classic, rangy out to the right, Wells. The left-footed winger who loves to cut in onto his favoured foot and shoot. Leon Alizard, the Wanderers left back today, will be well briefed on how his opponent is going to behave. For now, though, United's attack is down the opposite side. Back into the middle for Antelmi. He's looking for someone to follow up. It's Milicevic. Wells heard the shout from Rule, and going for it at the near post. He's forced a good save out of Lucas Sinnott behind for a corner kick. And the link up there was promising from Sydney United. Bailey Rule is continuing to advance down the right side, and he produces a shot on target. Not able to get the better of Sinnott, though, and it leads to the first corner of the game. Not much of a height disparity between the two teams. Plenty of evenly matched markings inside the penalty area. And the corner is taken short. Left-footed attempt is high and wide. And it is accompanied with an apology, so the first corner of the game doesn't lead to a touch inside the penalty box. And Mason Wells, just a minute after I'd flagged how he likes to attack and how he likes to play, indeed he does. Drift in onto his left from the right side and shoot. And that one was sent high and wide. Sinnott hurried into a clearance. Lual brought the ball down. Haddad. He's going to lift it out to the left. Dello Sandy off and chasing. He's got the veteran Glassick with him. Turns away to Alizart. Julian Kopp, switch of flanks over to Jesse Cameron. Haddad trying to keep things moving. Abdul Ruckman manufactured a shot. It's a shot on target, but very comfortably dealt with by the goalkeeper, Orlovich. The Wanderers able at least to put Sydney United 58 on notice with that attempt. Alan Abdul Ruckman's last goal came in round 14 in a 3-0 win against St George. Those were precious points at the time for Wanderers, and even though they come into today on a 2-game winless streak, that St George win actually sparked a run of 7 points in 3 games that lifted them out of the conversation for direct relegation, and now they can sense the rarefied air of comfort, maybe even mid-table if they were to win a game like today. Alizart up for the task against Wells. Franson comes across. Clearance only as far as Rule. Milicevic. And tell me his movement anticipated by Franson. Hatch. Jennings from wide on the left. It's Jennings. De Oliveira. Tomlich. Vlastelica to Hatch. Very patient build-up from Sydney United. And the attempted cross is deflected out for a corner. So, second corner of the day coming up for the visiting side. Crowders eventually made their way in primarily to the right of our camera here at Wanderers Football Park. A modest attendance, maybe 250 to 300. So the first corner of the day was a short corner. Now we're on for a more conventional delivery here. Indeed we are, but it's a towering header from Franson. He clears the penalty area, not much more than that though. Tomlich. Rule. Jennings pass, he's going to get a second go at the ball. Wells, Vlastelica. And now through the right channel. And a pile-up of bodies. Jennings wins. Well, does he win a corner? He doesn't. It's offside is the decision against Leroy Jennings with that final touch of the phase of play. No progress for Battleado. Haddad tries his luck. Stuck in a 1-on-2, but last touch off a United player. And the debate over who gets the throw. This time it's United who get the nod. De Oliveira. Abdul Ruckman came in and nicked the ball off him. Back pass from Al-Azad is going to go all the way to Sinnott. Franson. Kopp. Wanderers trying to work their way through this United midfield, and in the end a long ball volunteers possession back to United. So a little tactical win there for the visiting side. The giveaway though could invite pressure on. Sandy. Vlasic clears. I think as far as Franson. To Oliveira. To Jennings. Hatch. Tomilich played into midfield. You can see the structure of United so clearly out on the grass today. The movement and cohesion on show. Here's Wells. And now Milicevic. It takes a big deflection. And the United players were convinced it was due to a handball, but the referee remains unmoved. And that was incisive passing. They just worked their way all the way through Wanderers, and it did end up in a shot. Not the most powerfully struck shot on goal, though, and ultimately held on to by Lucas Sinnott. But signs of a team that's in good form. You can see why they're in the cup final. You can see why they've overcome their slow start to really lock down a spot in the top six. Lasalitza. Hatch. And again, Sydney United remain patient. They're not in a great hurry at the moment. And there is evidence so far through 18 minutes. Oh, as Tomilich makes amends for an errant touch initially. A couple in the space of the same phase of play means Haddad is going to play the ball to Lual. It's a grab of the shirt, but not enough for the referee to call it a foul. And Telmy steaming back from his centre forward position just to try and hurry the Wanderers up. Tilt. Now Cameron. Haddad and Lual looking for the link up. Evasiveness from Haddad. He was wiped out, and well, the two number 10s have collided a couple of times today. They may have specific roles to creating and attacking for their respective teams, but there's been no apprehension from Carlos de Oliveira to come in and stick a tackle on his counterpart. And indeed, that's what he did there. And this time, a free kick. And in shooting range, you'd have to say as well, for the Western Sydney Wanderers. It might be shooting range. There might be three in the wall, but Franson and Tilt have both come forward here. Haddad, his intentions were to shoot. And unfortunately for him, that would have cleared a second set of goals as it goes into the fence behind the net. 20 minutes gone, still scoreless at Wanderers Football Park. Only two games in NPL Men's New South Wales today. St George City taking on NWS Spirit at 7:15 later tonight down at Penshurst Park. And then, we've got a bumper day tomorrow. 6 games. That one's perfect for opening as many tabs in your computer as possible and staying across all the action if you're not getting out to one of them yourself. Here's Antelmi. Lays it through the left. Jennings cuts it back. Franson, a scramble, and the ball is over from Antelmi, and perhaps the chance of the game so far. Wanderers, their own worst enemy, inviting on a bit of pressure. And then Sydney United very nearly capitalised and perhaps should have. Centre forward play initially from Antomi to bring the ball down, but it was the pass from Al-Azad that coughed up the ball and invited all the pressure on. Now Sinnott is hurried up here. Hatch. Wells. Glassick clears his lines. De Oliveira. Well, he's out. Foxdale is out there, and he's been able to lure him in for a foul. And it's a mid-range free kick over on the right. Taken quickly. Wells. Through the right channel. Rule off the heels. It sits up. Milicevic turns onto his left side. Doesn't want to shoot into traffic. And so Jennings keeps the relay going. Hatch drops the shoulder. Can he get the better of Cameron, though he can't? And Cameron's done really well there to win his team a goal kick. Battleado. Other than Edmund Haddad, the Wanderers midfielders, Battleado, Kopp, they have been starved of possession. They've had to go wide to make headway. About a quarter of the way through the day's action, and the visiting side, Sydney United, will feel as though they've done enough to score and take control of this game, but instead they look up at a scoreless situation, so they have to keep attacking and keep pressing. Haddad, great evasiveness, close control, and lays it out to Cameron on the right. Wanderers in behind, the cross, Lual, a series of ricochets. Vlastelica took a heavy landing. Cameron, Vlastelica back to his feet just in the nick of time. Battleado takes possession. Kopp. Can Wanderers keep the pressure on? Alizar, the left back, getting forward. Turns onto his right side for the cross. And a clearance almost off the back of Vlastelica gets Sydney United out to the safe passage of Antelmi. Well, better from Wanderers. They were able to get the man in behind on the right here, Jesse Cameron. Now he's a bit more advanced in the pitch, but even though it didn't result in a shot on goal, it was promising build-up play. Sandy. Abdul Rahman, Lual, lays it off. Haddad. Hello, Sandy. Well, that was helter-skelter, but they nearly stuck it there, Western Sydney. And they've responded because the game was meandering towards an opening goal for Sydney United, and the home side have sparked up and been able to show a bit of creativity of their own. Lual, he's a lone hand up top, but he's got a couple of defenders to deal with here. Hatch showing us their full speed sprint really for the first time today, and it was to get back and cover in defence, but he hasn't really unleashed that down into the attacking half just yet. We know he's got it in him. Glassick played it into the midfield. It's a contest there to be won. Battleado, Haddad in a bit of space. Is it shooting range? No, he's going to engage the defence, and now he fires. It looked like a handball and given. Glassick concedes a penalty. Well, Edmund Haddad has shown his danger, and in the pocket he received the pass. He didn't think about a long shot. He took on one more opponent and then fired, and he fired into the arm of Michael Glassick, and the referee had no hesitation awarding a penalty kick. So against the run, Wanderers have a chance to lead. Awan Lual, who has scored in his last 3 games consecutively, can he make it a goal in 4 straight from the penalty spots? Saved and out for a corner kick. Josip Orlovic comes up with a big save, and he keeps the game scoreless, and Wanderers miss their chance to take the lead. They are still on top, and they've still got a corner kick, but that's a very savable penalty, and now Orlovic is in a tangle with Abdul Ruckman in the penalty area, and the referee, Michael Weiner, is going to come in and have a talk to calm everyone down. It's still pretty willing in there, though. So, corner kick for the Wanderers. Haddad, it's falling right on the goal line. Vlastelica with the initial header. De Oliveira then repels out of the box. Cameron. And that just kept rising. And now Sydney United can exhale. They've faced down a penalty and kept the clean sheet intact. Josipovic making the save down to his left. First major flashpoint in the game. We've had chances. Patrick Antomi's had a great chance to put Sydney United into the lead. And now they've had to dig deep to make sure they didn't go behind at the other end. Long ball here. Jennings and Cameron in a duel. It's going to fall to Sinnott. He's got to scramble back into his penalty area and fall onto the ball to make sure Jennings didn't come in and nick it off him at the last second. Sinnott, a flat clearance. Luau. How's his response going to be to having that penalty kick saved? Found the back of the net once each against Mount Druitt, Sydney Olympic and the Sutherland Sharks, albeit in a losing cause last weekend. So he was the hot foot. You can understand why he took the penalty kick, but didn't really put it out of reach of the keeper. Here's a chance now for Wells. He's going to swing it in, and tell me, didn't look like it was his touch. And indeed, it's a corner kick. Well defended, but Wanderers now have to worry about a set piece. Short options, Mason Wells here. Will he be used on the corner kick, or will it be conventional delivery? It looks as though it will be struck high beyond the back post. First head is United. Vlastelica are now on the turn, and Telmi blocked away. Milicevic, Tomilic blocked again. And Haddad with a sideways clearance. He found Kopp. And that's enough to allow the defence to reorganise behind the ball. De Oliveira. Carlos De Oliveira. Jennings. He's going to take on the defence. He ran right into the cluster of players at the top of the penalty area. Tomilic. Long diagonal ball, but picked out Jesse Cameron. He's going to return it in kind. Plenty of confidence playing out from the back here for Sydney United. Tomilic uses Glassick. Bailey Rule. Pass took a little deflection. It still found its way to Antelmi. And that's a finish that has slid off the outside of his left foot. Just kept climbing away from goal. Half an hour ticked over. Still scoreless at Wanderers Football Park. That cheering you can hear is on, for those of you familiar with Wanderers Football Park, the pitch behind us. So, no context for the game we're watching. De Oliveira down in the corner. He's got Jennings in support. Hatch. Milicevic. Played it straight to Battleato. Dallo Sandy. Lual. He's got Abdul Ruckman, and now the runners are starting to break. Abdul Ruckman. Dallo Sandy making ground in the middle. Crosses it to the edge of the box. Lual denied the ball by Hatch. He blocked it away. Bit of end-to-end means that now it's United's turn to wait for numbers to break back into position, and they've coughed up the ball here, but their defence is now set in position. Tilt. Well, straight to Hatch. And tell me a lone hand, though. Cameron covering. Tilt. Immediate chance to make amends. Abdul Ruckman. Alizart. This pass not to the advantage of his teammates either. Glassick. De Oliveira hustled into the pass, and tell me. Follow-up comes from De Oliveira. Wells. Well, he went to ground, but the referee wasn't interested. And now Lual lays it out to Abdul Ruckman on the left. You can see that United's got defenders back in formation, though. Abdul Ruckman drops the shoulder into the near post, and there wasn't really a teammate to make that a bit more nervous for Orlovich. Instead, he makes a very comfortable catch. Hatch. Jennings given away. Lual can turn and go here. Dallo Sandy was calling for the ball in the pass. Well, it's an anticlimax for the Wanderers. A little gift and they couldn't cash it in. Wells and Tommy. Is there a body check? No, just a bit of incidental contact there between Jesse Cameron and Leroy Jennings. Lual. Abdul Ruckman able to win the ball. He's around the keeper as well. Defenders scrambling back, cut across, and Abdul Ruckman, the ball's glued to his feet. Now a chance comes for Dallo Sandy, and it's blocked away. Well, the Wanderers' chances to score have appeared intermittently, but again, a really good opportunity and some desperate last-ditch defending. Able to get back on the line. Abdul Ruckman, rather than shoot on the tight angle, he tried to cut it back in for Dallo Sandy. The end result is a corner kick. So, a corner kick for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Battleato. In swinger, looking for Franson. It's kept away from him by Glassick. Ball runs along the line. Lual against Antelmi, and the tangle a little bit too much. A free kick going the way of Western Sydney. Edmund Haddad is quick to set the ball. So a corner dealt with from one side. Now a free kick almost near the corner down at the other. In swinger, and the header was there for Lual, and he sent it across the face. Even on a tight angle, it's gone out on the opposite side. All the chances start to stack up. I won Lual if you were to watch only the highlights of this first half, it may mislead you as to Wanderers standing in the game. It does feel as though United have been on top in general play, but the actual chances created, undeniably now, Western Sydney Wanderers should have a goal of their own, if not two. Milicevic caught. Kopp. Abdul Rahman can't get past Glassick. Stand-up tackle that won the ball away. Richard Cardozo, the Wanderers manager, is waving his arms in the technical area. He's got them hands back in pockets now. Haddad lost possession as he tried to roll his marker. De Oliveira. Here's Milicevic. Rule advancing. Wells. He does have... Well, he had barely a moment on his left side and he didn't pull the trigger. Sandy takes possession away for Wanderers. Abdul Rahman, busy. Cameron. Square ball. Was potentially dangerous, but Battleado kept the ball and kept his feet. Lual. Noan Lual. Now Dallo Sandy shooting. It's full impact for Glassick. Blocked away. Matt Hatch looking a little proppy with his ankle over on the left side, but he's back up and running, and now Jennings is getting forward, but he's a bit of a lone hand. Square ball, telegraphed, picked off by Kopp. And now the Wanderers can turn and go. Abdul Rahman. They're outnumbered, but can they make it work? Alat Abdul Rahman almost to the edge of the box, leaves it with Haddad. Haddad shooting from distance, and he just wrapped that right into the gloves of the goalkeeper, Orlovic. The shot was on, but he didn't really place it in a way that made the goalkeeper work. Haddad, he gets a second chance here. He's in the pocket again. He runs at the defence, and he runs into a brick wall in the form of Vlastelica. Now he waits for Cameron to get forward in support. Deflected cross, and that'll take it out for a corner. And Wanderers, really for the first time in the game, they've got general play very much going in their favour. Still a good chunk of time before the half-time break as well. So is this a change in momentum that can lead to the first goal of the game? So Haddad's corner, and Orlovic was up. He was leaping against Lual. It seems as though neither got a touch in the end. And it's beaten all and sundry to go out for a goal kick on the opposite side. Rule. Alizard waiting for the right option for the throw-in. Fourth official insisting they not steal too many metres. Hatch. Miss Jennings with the pass. Battleado, Sandy, now Kopp. Abdul Rahman, all knocked off his toes. Milicevic. Here's a chance for Mason Wells. He takes the ball in stride, and he puts it wide to the right. Well, it unfolded very quickly there for Aiden Milicevic to send Mason Wells through the right, and he backed himself on his right foot on that occasion. He just couldn't sneak it inside the post. While theatrically goes to ground, and his thoughts are of appealing to the referee as play continues at the feet of Bailey Rule. Mastalitz's long ball. Tilt. Solid header. Tomilic follows up. Change comes in. Rule knocked over by Dello Sandy, and it has drawn the card out of the pocket of the referee. First yellow card comes in the 42nd minute for Dello Sandy. It was almost in slow motion, that tackle. He went to ground and committed a long way out, Sandy, so when the ball had moved on, he wiped out Bailey Rule, and he can have no real arguments there because the pass had already well and truly been played. There wasn't really a ball there to be won by the time he crashed in. Rule. Milicevic links up with Antelmi, but through comes Tilt. And on the follow through, he's hurt his lower leg. There won't be a card in response though. Feels as though the game has just lost a bit of its momentum as we hit the 43-minute mark. 2 minutes of regulation plus stoppage to go in the first half. And now it feels like we might be a little bit further away from the opening goal than it did at times during the first 45. Dello Sandy, still the only player on the pitch with the yellow card then. Slow challenge came in from Tomilic. Milicevic tried to bunny hop in midfield. Cameron. Badalado wiped out, and now the card is here for Antelmi. And it feels like that may have been coming. No protesting at all from Sydney United number 9. Had a ball from the pitch on the opposite side hit the roof. Thankfully it's not rolling onto our surface. Vlastelica heads the ball back to his keeper, and Josip Orlovic has been one of the stars of this first half with that penalty save, which has kept the scoreline at 0-0. Popped over the top. Hatch is lurking, so's Jennings. Tilt had to keep his head, and he did. Steered it out to the right, and now Haddad tries to turn away from trouble, but he's coughed up the ball. Milicevic, Hatch, and now Antelmi. Laid it sideways, but straight to Sandy. He finds his time on the ball. Fourth official is not holding a board, so as we tick up to the 45-minute mark, it might be a very limited stoppage at the end of this first half. Abdul Ruckman has got Cameron on the overlap. Cameron, Luau. Header glances back to the edge of the box. Kopp battling for possession. Julian Kopp tumbling and eventually goes to ground. He was losing his balance from some way off, and indeed the reason for no indicator of stoppage is because 20 seconds is all we needed. Half-time at Wanderers Football Park, and the home side had a penalty kick and a couple of really good chances, but Sydney United will feel as though Patrick Antomi's shot over the bar and also a shot from Mason Wells, which went just wide of the right-hand post, were their chances to score. Both teams unable to make the most of their opportunities, though, and it leaves us with a stalemate for now. You feel as though there are goals on the way. No shortage of intent, given the reward for winning today is massive relative to the ladder position of these two teams. But for now, we're still waiting for that opening goal. We'll have the holding screen through halftime. Stay with us. In NPL Men's New South Wales, it is Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Sydney United 58 0. both teams back out onto the pitch for the second half of this NPL Men's New South Wales Round 19 contest. We're yet to see a goal, not for a lack of trying from both teams, though. A first-half penalty for Western Sydney Wanderers, saved by Josip Orlovic, the Sydney United 58 goalkeeper. And it means that the 0-all scoreline is intact. But for how long? We've had a yellow card each. Patrick Antelmi for United, and also Dallo Sandy for Western Sydney Wanderers in the referee's book. We're yet to see a substitution by either team, and it appears as though the 11s that started the match are going to be resuming the second half here on an excellent surface at Wanderers Football Park. It's played beautifully in this match. It is a mild, about 15 degrees, perfect weather for football, and we kick off the second half in NPL Men's New South Wales. It's the first game of round 19. Only one more game later tonight, and then a bumper 6-game slate tomorrow to fulfil all your needs for top flight football in New South Wales. If you've joined us during the halftime break, it is Wanderers in their black and red home kit and United in the white away kit. And here is Carlos de Oliveira on the ball. And here is a halftime change that has been made. Alessandro Lacalandra is on, and he's teeing up Matthew Hatch for a shot on goal, and a save made by Lucas Sinnott, who's in goal today, with no Tristan Vidakovic available for the Western Sydney Wanderers. So process of elimination. I'll find out who's been taken out for Lacalandra, the number 13 on the ball right here. I'm trying to find Patrick Antelmi out there, and it seems as though he might have been the player whose number is up. Mason Wells, Carlos de Oliveira and Leroy Jennings are all still out there, so the 10 and the 2 wingers from the first half remain, but it's at centre forward that we've seen the change, and Lacalandra, who's buzzing around the penalty area, has replaced Patrick Antelmi for Sydney United 58s. Doing another head check on the Wanderers to make 100% sure I haven't missed a sub. It does appear as though the team that started the game is the same 11. Leon Alizard here, the left back today, who's had to concede this corner kick. So only 2 minutes into the second half, and United, having had the halftime team talk of Ante Juric, looking to respond with the opening goal. Mason Wells to take the corner kick. He drives it low. De Oliveira, very clever. And Sydney United 58 do score just 2 minutes into the second half. And they are chuffed with a set-piece routine that has undone the Wanderers and put them into a 1-0 lead. It was Mason Wells with a worm-burning pass towards the top of the box, and it only really made it about halfway to the top of the area when Carlos de Oliveira met it in stride, and it was able to find a way through the gaps in the Wanderers' defence, and so they take the lead. The scoreboard's yet to tick over. Yep, now it does. Goal given, and Wanderers looking to respond. Here's Alat Abdul Rahman pushing it on, and Dallo Sandy is flat-footed. He may not have been able to chase it down regardless. It's Carlos de Oliveira's first league goal of the season, so no wonder he was delighted as well. Wanderers, Julian Kopp, pass blocked away. Vlastelica was crucial. Now Haddad, he's going to fire on a tight angle and held on to by Orlovic down next to his left-hand post. I might get into what that means for the live league table, because if United win today, they will move up to 5th on the ladder. So the table at present, everyone's played 18 games except for these two competing here with the first game of round 19. Marconi 42, Rockdale 40, Spirit 37, and then a little bit of a gap to Apia on 33, and a plus 21 goal difference. Sydney United would be on 33, and their goal difference is now dead level. They came into today -1 for the season. And then Blacktown City on 33 points in 6th, and then a big 7-point gap to Sydney Olympic in 7th place. So this would create 3 teams on 33 points, and then a 7-point gap to Sydney Olympic outside the finals places looking in. We'll get to the second half of the table once we just make sure something's not going to unfold here. Wells, the goal scorer, De Oliveira. And it's knocked off his toes, but Bailey Rule will come forward and take the throw in for Sydney United. Wells, an assist to his name now. Rule. Battleado cleverly to Dallo Sandy, but he left the ball behind. Wells trying to answer with some trickery of his own. Lakalandra has bowled over Franson. So that's the situation around the top 6. So 7th place Olympic 26, 8th St George Saints on 25, 9th Manly on 24, 10th Sydney FC 24, 11th Wollongong 21, 12th St George City on 19. And then if they do lose today, the Wanderers will be in 13th place on 16 points, one ahead of Sutherland Sharks on 15. In the Pro Roll playoff would be Mount Druitt on 9 points, and Central Coast Mariners still propping up the table on 7. So Wanderers came in with a bit of a buffer today from the bottom 2. But they have every reason to go and chase this deficit and try to find a way back into the game, especially all based on the quality of chances created in the first half. And a little nudge here on Battleado by Milicevic leads to a free kick. Here's Kopp. Wanderers stung into action. Cameron, his pass under hit and intercepted by Hatch. Turns it around the corner. Milicevic. Hatch. Jennings off and running. Just has to wait for the ball to arrive at his feet. Jennings against Cameron. Wells, a bending ball, which is hooked back high. Bouncing away from Lual. Classic's pass finds Wells. He's drifting forward, as is his trademark. You could see it unfolding before your eyes, and Mason Wells makes it 2. Sydney United 58 have put a gap in this game now. And Wells has scored in his 4th consecutive match in the league. And he was allowed to move into the spaces where he has proven deadly all season. And he put that beyond the dive of Lucas Sinnott in goal. It's his 8th of the league campaign as well. And now Western Sydney Wanderers have let this one slip. Sydney United 58 have taken it away from them in a 7-minute burst at the start of the second half. And so in the battle for second place in the Golden Boot, which is a very hot contest, Alek Urashevsky is 9 clear on top with his 20 for the season, but Wells' 8th puts him back within 3 of second place Presley Ortiz of Apia Leichhardt and 2 behind third place Cyrus Demi of Sydney Olympic. They're the only 2 teams with players in double figures, along with, of course, Rockdale's Urashevsky. Moves into a tie with the likes of Michael Conesabo, Bay Antonio and Jaden Casella on 8 league goals for the campaign. Where Wanderers showed a bit of hustle after conceding the first. You just wonder how demoralised they might be after the second. It's the same scoreline as when they met over at the Sydney United Sports Centre back in round 4. But this time, with a lot of the game still to be played. De Oliveira has got a taste for goal scoring now. Blocked here, and a solid one at that. Michael Ruckman. Out to the left. Alizart taking the game on, but loses out to Bailey Rule. Lakalandra. Attempted to slide through Wells, but it caught a deflection out. Looks like there's at least one change, potentially a double change on the way for the home side. Khan Nizam is one of the players who's taken off the bib, so he's not far away. Classic. Rule, Wells, De Oliveira. Great pass from De Oliveira. Rule cuts it across, and the Wanderers' defence converge. Tilt got the all-important interception to block it away. And now the double change will happen over on the Wanderers' sideline. It's going to be Dello Sandy who's making way as one of these changes. Waiting to see if this is who's the second player that's coming off. I'm scanning my eyes around the pitch. It is going to be Nicholas Battalato who also makes way. So Dello Sandy and Nicholas Battalato, the two players that have come off. And Khan Nizam. And also Saxon Hillier has come on, and it's Hillier's first appearance in first grade since around 14, so he's been out for 5 weeks or so. Jennings lifts it across over the head of Franson. First touch for Hillier, and it was important too. A header out of the box. Lual able to roll with possession. Cameron is going to clear first time from the right back corner. Goes Flastalitza. De Oliveira. Wells. Franson intercepts. Right in front of us, you saw the little tap of the ankles from Lakalandra on Alizart. Haddad bustling forward. Hatch, sideways clearance. Chased over to the sideline by Rule. It's blocked initially. And that was Khan Nizam getting a touch on the ball, and Franson then has to guard Lakalandra closely. Hillier. Trapped by Rule. Lakalandra, a bit of afters with Rule, and the referee says a foul. Shooting range free kick, slightly off-centre to the right, and there's just a bit of a grapple here. Rule and Hillier unfriendly, and will cooler heads prevail. The referee, Michael Wynn, has put himself right in the thick of the action to try and separate some of the aggrieved parties, and You just see Classics in there trying to be peacemaker and showing good leadership here to get Lakalandra out of there before he does anything he regrets. And well, I don't think we'll see a card out of this. There's a bit of much ado about nothing, really. It was, I think they were bear hugging each other. No one really raised their hands or appeared to do anything totally out of order. And indeed, just talking to is the end result. Good reffing, though. And almost at the hour mark, everyone's focus might turn back to the game, because a free kick here in a dangerous position. The lights have just come on here at Wanderers Football Park, 4:22 local time. Well, now we've got another tangle. Vlastelica and Alizard. It's just a bit of edginess starting to enter the game. Wanderers feeling as though it's let slip today. They did have a penalty to take the lead, which was saved in the first half. Now they find themselves in a 2-0 hole, and a third would surely be good night. Free kick taken short. De Oliveira, and cleared towards the line. Haddad. Rule. De Oliveira. Milicevic. Crossfield pass. Just hung in the air for Cameron. He brought it down for Haddad. Now Khan Nizam immediately nicked off his toes. Tilt. Wanderers not able to progress at speed, so they consolidate. Franson. Now Alizar. Incisive pass from Franson, but Lual playing centre forward couldn't quite play to the advantage of Kopp. He's going to follow up regardless, and then Kopp just squeaks through the gap and rolls its way down to the keeper. Glassick. Up goes Alizard. Sought over Wells to win the header, but sent it straight out. Lots of chat coming from centre back from Ricky Franson. Long ball from Vlastelica. And it's going to beat everyone in the air. Alizard took a tumble. Here's Lakalandra. Rule. And now Milicevic trying to find a gap where there wasn't one. Milicevic saw the run of De Oliveira, tries to pinpoint him with a ball that drops just slightly north of the penalty spot. It was held on to by Sinnott. Kopp caught in possession. Tomalic. De Oliveira at the edge of the box, and it's batted away. Wells tries to get to the follow-up, and a foul given. Some protesting there as Mason Wells went sliding in on Leon Alizard, but referee Michael Weiner was quick with the whistle. Bit of conversation going on between Ante Juric and the fourth official, but it's not about making a sub. I'm pretty sure it was about the refereeing decision we just saw. Play continues. Cameron. Abdul Ruckman. Had a very prominent first half, but he's drifted out of the game in what we've seen of the second half so far. Glassick. Bailey Rule breaks wide, but Khan steers him back. Wells. De Oliveira. More briefings going on the Wanderers bench, so Sydney United have got all their subs warming up, and it looks as though it's the Wanderers who will be next to act. Matthew Hatch. First time we've really seen him at top speed marauding forward today, and he wins a corner kick for his side. He's played a bit more of a conservative role than you might come to expect from Matthew Hatch today, but we know he's got that ability to get forward on the break. We've got to play it down. It looks like it might only be a cramp here for the Wanderers. They are getting one sub ready. Is this going to change their thinking at the 65-minute mark? It's Julian Kopp who's waiting for the trainer to come on here, so he's looking very proppy. So are we going to see this sub before the corner, so it's 11 versus 11, or will United have a man advantage at this corner kick? No, they're going to make the change. So Julian Kopp's afternoon comes to an end. And coming on is Anthony Barbich for Western Sydney Wanderers. His first duty is to get involved defending this corner. High looping ball. First head was United, but there's a free kick in there for Franson. Even though Glassick did get a little glancing header on the corner kick. Lual couldn't control the ball. Very tough to do so. Jennings. Hatch. All the way back to his keeper, Orlovich. Lastalitza. Long ball, Lakalandra. Couldn't quite bring his teammates into it. It was a difficult situation. Here's the first touch for Barbich. Now he's got Cameron. Steaming forward here, Jesse Cameron. Cuts it into the middle early. Khan Nizam tried to nick it on. Straight to Glassick at the centre of defence. Referee's got his back turned as we see a towel run down from the Wanderers' sideline. So the ball is cleaned, and here comes a long throw. Referee none the wiser, I think, to all of that going on as it's hurled into the box, and Tombolich heads it away initially. Nizam, Hillier, trying to keep possession, and now Khan Nizam, he's going to load up from distance, and it was bombs away in the end. It just kept rising and rising, and was no threat on the goal of Josip Orlovich. It does feel as though Wanderers have just drifted further and further away from scoring as the game has gone on here, regardless of United netting two of their own. Lawal and also Abdul Rahman have been very quiet in the second half. They load up for a big last 20 minutes. Here is Abdul Rahman trying to re-engage with the game. He spins, and with a bit of energy, out to the left he goes. Quick 1-2 with Nizam. And hard against the line, he can't win his team a corner. It is out for a goal kick. Little moments like that. It's almost like his ears were burning there. He immediately found himself on the ball and with a chance to run forward, but the execution, not able to win his team a set piece. The sun has come out from underneath heavy cloud cover. For those of you who've been with us all afternoon, I did mention that it was about 90 minutes before kickoff, there was really heavy rain, but it's been more or less perfect conditions ever since. Hopefully the setting sun doesn't cause too many issues for your pictures as you watch on. Be as descriptive as possible, I imagine, down at the right of screen, though, for you, if we are looking into the sun for the remaining 20 minutes of the game. Right now, Wanderers are going to try to send the ball down the other end. Haddad. Babic. Nizam. And the chain of passes comes unstuck. Bit of a tussle at halfway, but play continues. Babic again. Nizam able to wrestle free. Getting really close attention from De Oliveira. And he sends it out to the right for Cameron. And now the run from Haddad. Lual's the lone target in the middle. It's over his head, though. It was a hopeful rather than specific cross. It's just maybe put up as a bit of a prayer that Hawan Lual would find a way to get underneath it, not to be. Now as the ball heads down the other end, it's been picked up by the goalkeeper. I've got the sunglasses out. If you can't see it too clearly, I'll try and describe it as best I can. The ball's going to run out for a throw-in right down next to the corner flag. We're going to see Sydney United 58's first change of the game. And Mason Wells, scorer of the second goal, is going to be subbed. Is he? He's running over to the sideline, and as he just gets a little bit closer, he'll slow that down to a jog. But what a run he's on in the league. 4 consecutive games with a goal now, and he receives congratulations in due course as he heads to the sideline. And coming on is Mario Chabau. So pretty handy replacement. Chabau has been one of the top players in NPL for such a long time. What a luxury to bring off the bench. But Wells goals at the Sutherland Sharks, against Sydney FC, against Manly United, and here against the Wanderers today. It's been a stellar month for him, 4-4. But he's out of the game, and Wanderers are still chasing this 2-0 deficit. Cross comes in from Cameron, repelled initially. Haddad, Hillier, back to Al-Azhar. He's going to drop it at the edge of the box. Lual out-pointed in the air by Vlastelica. Haddad back out to Jesse Cameron. Cameron finds Abdul Rahman. He's going to spin, crosses it. Franson, the centre-back, has stayed forward. Shot took a big deflection. Tilt is there. He can't quite knock it to his advantage. Franson still on the scene. They've got so many numbers committed forward here, the Wanderers. De Oliveira puts a foot in, and that was crucial. He managed to extract it in the end. Lacalandra trying to launch a counter-attack. Jennings, exactly the sort of player you'd want to be part of it. He's going to be steered out towards the corner, though. And the ball finds its way out for a throw-in. Wanderers had a good little spell there, but United perhaps identifying the need to slow things down, control the tempo of the game over that throw. Hatch, Milicevic takes possession, edge of the box. Chabau, first involvement, trying to stick a 1-2. He's tapping at the heels of Franson and concedes a foul in the end. Mario Chabau into the game with energy. Babic. He's caught by Chabau, so a couple of fouls in consecutive favours of play. Franson right up the middle. And the opposing centre-back, Vlasic, answers with a clearance. Hillier. Tilts long ball. Lual with it all to do against Vlastelica. He's been able to win some of the battles against the young forward in this second half. The experienced Sydney United centre-back. Rule. Ball catches a deflection. Bailey Rule hard against the line. It didn't find a way out, but maybe that's to Wanderers' advantage. Abdul Rahman, he ran straight at Glassick, and the ball deflected out to the sideline. He keeps it in, and it's knocked off his toes this time by Milicevic, legally as well. United trying to come away. Tomilic, Shabao, Hatch. I don't think Wanderers will mind the tempo being a bit up, a bit end-to-end. Their only hope of launching a comeback here is to turn this into a bit of a shootout and leave gaps in the game, whereas it's incumbent on United to control the tempo. They know the value of a win today. Not only will they go into fifth, they'll go 7 points clear of 7th place. Here's Haddad. Lual, edge of the box. Return ball to Haddad. Now Abdul Rahman. And no one can take the responsibility of shooting at the moment. Just too crowded. No one able to free the feet and find the right moment. 15 minutes of regulation to go at Wanderers Football Park. Rule. Shabao showed for the ball. And he's got it on a string here in the centre of the pitch. Milicevic, De Oliveira, long diagonal ball and offside against Jennings. So 2 more changes coming up for Western Sydney, and Awan Lual will be perhaps thinking about the penalty in the first half as he is subbed out. And Alat Abdul Rahman had a very prominent first half and just couldn't find the same level of impact on the game in the second. And so it's a new look forward line for the last 14 minutes plus stoppage in this one. Noah Peacock is into the game, and by process of elimination it should be Ewan Gosowski as well. Yep, the number 14, Gosowski. First senior appearance of the NPL men's New South Wales season. So a big moment for him. And Peacock on as well, wearing the number 34. But the ball is down the other end, and Sydney United have themselves a corner as they look to put this one out of sight. So Mason Wells has been subbed out. He had the assist from the corner just 2 minutes into the half. This time it's Milicevic on duty, and his corner finds the head of Saxon Hillier. Follow-up comes from Jennings. It catches a deflection, and it's in. And after scoring in the first meeting between the teams earlier in the season, Leroy Jennings has done it again. It is 3 for Sydney United 58. And 2 of them from corner routines. And even though that one was a second-time ball, the initial header away, Jennings in space, well outside the area, and it caught a big deflection on the way through. You suspect it'll still be his goal, though. Didn't look like it was going off target, so in spite of the deflection, we'll give it to Leroy Jennings for now. And that makes it Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Sydney United 58, 3. And a neat little boost to the goal difference, which did start in the minuses today now. They've got it up to +2 as a result of today's scoreline with 12 minutes to go. And the good news is the sun has nearly disappeared behind the horizon to the right of screen. Ball through the right. Gosowski, first involvement in the game is to win a corner kick. So corner for Western Sydney. Keeper Orlovich, very crowded. He's got his arms up as the corner swings in, holding it on the back post, and Orlovich has done very well to get his right glove onto it and send it out for a corner on the opposite side. Edwin Haddad tried to go direct, and Orlovich equal to it. His clean sheet stays intact. And Haddad is going to be taking the corners from both sides. Does he have it in his locker to go for the in-swinger on the left foot and the right foot? No, he's going to take this one left-footed as well. And it's going to drop at the back post, and Orlovich is up with a solid fist. Cameron can't quite get over the ball. We've seen a couple of shots from him today. Both of them have gone high. The right back for the Western Sydney Wanderers. United are going to make another substitution here, and Michael Glassick's number is up. It's worth remembering that they did play midweek in the Waratah Cup, winning through to the final at the expense of the SD Raiders. So there will be a few players that are backing up for a number of games in quick succession. And the man that was the only change to the starting 11 from the last league game, Liam McGing, he's on for the last 10 minutes here at centre back with Michael Glassick subbed out. That goal for Jennings was his first since round 11 as well, so he's had to wait 2 months for a goal in NPL Men's New South Wales. Wasn't the most expressive celebration though, because the deflection did play a big role in it. He remains over on the left wing. He's not going to get involved here though, as Shabao sends that into a sponsor's board. Lakalandra able to lose the attention of Cameron. Jennings. Wanderers have got the throw. Take a quick look at the fixture with what's coming up for the rest of the weekend. It's a rarity not to have a Friday night game in NPL Men's New South Wales. We had a Thursday night game, which was a catch-up between Central Coast and Manly United. A 1-1 draw on Thursday. So one more game tonight. 7:15 p.m. St George City taking on NWS Spirit at Penshurst Park. Vital game for Spirit if they want to remain in the title picture, or the premiership picture I should say. Cross here for the Wanderers. Up and underheader from Vlastelica, and it's landed on the roof of the net. Peacock was able to get there before Orlovich, but high degree of difficulty, and ultimately the keeper right on his case. He wasn't able to keep his header down, and it lands on the roof of the net. And then tomorrow, there's no less than 5 games kicking off at 3 p.m. Stay with play here. De Oliveira. Milicevic. Little flick was clever from Lakalandra, and away comes De Oliveira. Carlos De Oliveira. Taken off his toes by Ricky Franson. As the ball is volunteered back to the Wanderers. Let's take a look at tomorrow's action. So at 3 p.m, you've got St George at Barton Park hosting the Marconi Stallions. At Lambert Park, it'll be Apia Leichhardt against Blacktown City. At Ilinden, it's Rockdale against Mount Druitt Town. Pretty tall order for Mount Druitt. But, they will be happy that Wanderers weren't able to add to their points tally today. Just one plausible team they can keep chasing in the relegation battle. So we see Milicevic, De Oliveira, Shabao. First touch was clever. Shabao again. Rule. Lots of touches, but who's going to take the shot? No one can. Alizart clears away. It's a very crowded penalty area, and no one was able to get a decent swing at the ball. Up at Plume Park, it'll be Central Coast against the Wollongong Wolves. Final game for the Mariners. Can they pick up a rare win and throw the cat amongst the pigeons in the relegation battle? And then the other 3 p.m. is Sydney Olympic against the Sutherland Sharks, the rejuvenated Sutherland Sharks. So they've hit form at potentially the worst possible time for Sydney Olympic to be welcoming them. Hatch puts his head down, blazing forward here. Hatch outside of the foot. Oh, that would have been a special goal. Matthew Hatch took the defence on single-handedly and then outside of the foot was trying to find a way to shape it into the bottom right corner, and he very nearly did so. And then the last game of the round, 5 minutes to go here at Wanderers Football Park, is Manly United against Sydney FC. And again, today's result is a hammer blow to the likes of Manly, who were clinging on to some hope of top 6 and they need to put together a lengthy winning streak, you would think, to try and close the gap to the 3 teams that are now occupying 4th, 5th and 6th on the table. Jennings is going to win a corner here for United. So as it stands, Apia, United and Blacktown all on 33. St George Saints 25, Manly and Sydney FC 24. So if they draw with each other tomorrow, they will both find each other a massive 8 points adrift of 6th place. Sydney United have got 2 more changes waiting to come on to make a cameo appearance, but they'll take the corner kick first. And swinger from Chabot, dealt with at the near post initially by Alizart. Still a contest though. Lakalandra, shoulder to shoulder. Hatch. Chabot, Jennings for his second. It takes a deflection again, and this time saved by Sinnott. Out for a corner. Leroy Jennings, he can afford himself a wry smile. And it seems like we are going to see this double change now before the second corner in quick succession. So 2 of the goal scorers, Carlos de Oliveira, who got the scoring started in the 47th minute, and also Leroy Jennings are making way. It's going to be Stefan de Robillard back from international duty with Mauritius. He's going to come on. And also Josh Attard coming on for the first time in NPL men's since round 4. So he'll be thrilled to get a couple of minutes here under his belt. The number 29. Here's the corner and catching practice for Sinnott. Cameron Haddad hasn't stopped trying, Edmund Haddad, but it's become an increasingly challenging day for the Wanderers in their search for a goal. Franson straight through the middle. Barbic. Cameron saw Kosovsky, but it's been cleared away from him emphatically. Build-up continues for the Wanderers. On the turn, Khan Nizam straight into a trio of United defenders. Lazard wheels onto his right foot. High, hopeful cross. And the header won by Hatch. Cameron at the edge of the box. Hillier dispossessed. Alizard driving it low. It was straight at his teammate Peacock. And He could neither deflect it kindly nor move out of its way. And the whistle goes, foul on Tilt. That'll take us into the last minute of the 90. We had barely 20 seconds of stoppage at the end of the first half. You'd think we wouldn't have too much here at the end of the second as well. Clear winner tonight, or this evening I should say, as the sun is starting to set. Haddad. Al-Azad. Next game for each of these two teams. For the Wanderers, they're off to Christie Park to play NWS Spirit on Saturday at 5:30, so almost a week from now. And Sydney United 58, they've got a trip up to Gosford. They'll play the Mariners at Plume Park on Sunday at 3 p.m. So working their way through the academy opponents at the moment in their second set of head-to-heads. United, and they'll be facing the bottom team in the league next week, so they'll fancy their chances of keeping their good run of form going. Spirit, a difficult proposition for the Wanderers, especially away at Christie next week. So into stoppage time at the end of the second half. It's been a second half controlled by Sydney United 58 after scoring just 2 minutes into it. And even though there was a bit of feistiness from Western Sydney at 1-0 down, the second goal really put this one beyond doubt. Can they leave with a consolation though? Nizam making a run. It's a throw-in going the way of the Wanderers. Hillier able to ride a challenge. Barbic is going to shoot from distance. He lets rip, and it goes wide left with the aid of a deflection, so it will be a corner kick. Bit of noise coming from the pitch behind us. Nothing to do with the game we're watching. Corner, Vlastelica heads it away. Haddad able to keep his feet in the challenge there from Milicevic, and it is a corner, and a little bit of byplay. Competitive juices not totally exhausted yet, even deep in stoppage time at the end of the afternoon. Haddad's corner, and a clearing header comes from Lakalandra to the edge of the box. Nizam. Hillier. Hillier hangs it up. Oh, Orlovich second to the ball, and Peacock couldn't quite get a goal-bound touch on it. He was trying to leap up and steer it back towards the target, but not to be. That might be that, you suspect. We've had almost 3 minutes of additional time. That whistle, full time, is again from the pitch behind us. We haven't had it just yet. Hold fire. It's coming in a matter of seconds, though, you suspect. Wanderers trying to finish the game full of running, but United have been committed to the clean sheet and maintaining their defence today. A day where they've dipped back into positive goal difference after starting the day on -1. It's been a very successful trip to the Wanderers Football Park for Sydney United 58. 3 second-half goals separate them, and they move into a very enviable position inside the top 6. It really does pull up the drawbridge on the chasing pack. There is now an 8-point gap between 6th and 7th in NPL Men's New South Wales. And Sydney United 58 are one of those teams that's on the right side of that divide. It all started with a goal from Carlos de Oliveira, his first league goal of the season in the 47th minute. Mason Wells made it 2 with a real trademark of his, cutting in from the right side, shooting on his left foot, and it was 2-0 in the 53rd minute. And then with the aid of a deflection, Leroy Jennings made it 3 in the 78th minute. Good spectacle, but ultimately Wanderers didn't quite have the answers, especially after that double salvo made it 2-0 just 8 minutes into the second half. Hope you've enjoyed the action. Of course, there's a game tonight and a bumper day with 6 matches tomorrow. You can watch them all on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. On behalf of our broadcast partner, Sportscast Australia, my name's Teo Pellizzeri. Thanks for your company. We leave you with the full-time score. Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Sydney United 58, 3.